Oh, hey guys! I didn't see you come in. I can't. I can't with the gimmicks, guys. Unfortunately, I just don't have it in me to do the music, the flyovers, the all this stuff with the videos, the acting and things. Just can't do it. Uh, what I can do is just show you what I got going on. So what I am doing today is a job I have been working on for too long, and that is finishing up the packaging for my comb honey. I've already cut all my comb honey up into 2x4, 4x4, and chunk honey containers. So what I have left now is just the whole frame packaging. So that whole frame packaging, you would think you'd think that'd be pretty simple, pretty easy. It's not difficult, but it is tedious. So I have to plastic wrap the frame, put it inside of the holder, and then plastic wrap that. And when I've been doing it for a while, I don't burn through the plastic wrap. If I haven't been doing it right, if I get distracted, this is a really thin grade plastic wrap. I'm not sure. I think that's what you call it, plastic wrap. Comes in a big roll here behind me. Even on a low setting, which is how I run the heat gun, I run it on low. You can still blast a hole through it pretty quick, just like that. Because as soon as you cut the heat gun on and hit it with that wind, it just tightens right up. So it's kind of a tedious and not fun part of the day, going through all these frames. I can show you. I bought this thing off of Amazon. It came with this heat gun, which I actually like really well. The heat gun, this one here, got really bad reviews in the comments because they said that it didn't work. And I'll just say it. Whoever wrote that was too stupid to adjust the temperature. So this thing, of course, it has your standard high and low on the trigger, but it also has low and high on the twist. If you're not running it in high while using low, it won't work for the heat shrink wrap. It's like just blowing air on it. If you have it in low on low, it's just blowing air. High and low together is a great temperature, and it really, like, you can hold your hand in front of it. It's not that bad. And then high and high, of course, it sends all the hair right off my arm. So I'm assuming that this model is made for heat shrink use. It's not like my Harbor Freight heat gun that I use to free up the valve on my wax tank. I mean, that thing cranks out. I wouldn't dare put my hand in front of it. It'd just blister the skin off of it. But this thing here on the low setting really doesn't do much more than a hairdryer. So I like this heat gun. Now, had the fan blowing onto the comb honey supers. If you're concerned about small hive beetle or pests on your comb honey boxes while you're waiting to process them, if you put a box fan on top of them and keep it fairly dry in your honey house, that airflow will keep the small hive beetle from bugging your frames. The only real problem you'll have at that point could potentially be wax moth if you have it sitting there for a month or more. But overall, you have a good bit of time to get this done. So when I had the idea for the for the frame holder and better packaging for the comb honey. I wasn't sure exactly how I wanted to do that. In my mind, this worked much smoother than it actually does. It takes me a couple steps to work this. The first step, which with this roll, is to just cut off a frame-sized bag, which is no problem. The next step, I have to use one of these as the guide. I just roll out enough with the gap on the sides so that it'll be no problem in there. I make sure it lays smooth. This thing's got a heated wire. When you pull it down, it engages the electricity through it and then it burns it through. So for the holder bag, after we get the frame done, I have to then turn this sideways and guesstimate a roughly half of it and make my bags. So they don't make a machine, to my knowledge, that I could just do it all. I've seen the vacuum seal like freezer bags. A lot of those are textured. Also, they damage the cappings. I've seen other people using the freezer bag method and they end up with wet looking cappings. I don't. With my method here, nice white beautiful cappings. So with that, let's show you a frame or two. Excuse the equipment being everywhere, guys. I've had to clean up from extracting, and I don't have everything settled the way that I want it to for winter, but I just kind of carved me out a little workspace in here between the barrels of honey and buckets and equipment and all that. So I had another super of comb honey to the side that I have already, well, not already, but I had it back in the freezer. So one thing that I don't like, well, I mean, I'm kind of jumping ahead on what I'm saying here anyway, but something I don't like that I have to clean up is the propolis on the end bars. The frame itself, as a new frame, it's very clean and very pretty. It's a nice frame. I scrape the top bars and I scrape the bottom to get them clean, but the propolis where it sits in the frame rest, it just doesn't look good. It's dark. It's just not attractive. And for me as a beekeeper, I know what it is and that it's not a big problem. I just have to assume that most of my customers are not beekeepers, and to them this would just be ugly. So I was scratching at it, but then I found the quickest way is just to pop it right like that. And of course the frame rest does hold it, but that one was being stubborn. So we'll take our bag. Generally on the rolls, one side will be open, and we'll start like this. I do leave the cleaner propolis on the side just because it's how God and the bees made it, and I kind of like it that way. And it doesn't have the debris on it that makes it unsightly. So then to seal your bag, you just take the end and you seal it right like that. And you'll have a little cut off piece. Goes in the recycling box. I don't know, can you hear that? You can see, it's not. Try to keep my big head out of the way here, but I gotta see too. Now guys, this is a newer process for me. This is the first time I started doing this stuff was this year. So I'm sure I'll get better and more efficient time-wise. I'm sure that I may figure some better ways out. I like to tilt it because it'll show me where I need to apply the heat to tighten it up with the crinkles. I do like I said, I like this low power heat gun because I can set it down, not worry about it burning anything. Get that bottom. See, I don't know if it shows in the camera light, but there's ripples. Those ripples are just the loose. Ouch. It was a little hot there on the end when I stuck my hand to it. So that's that part. Take our frame holder. That. Pull our slack down. And now I just roll it over. Pull this up here because I'm going to have to trim that off. If you don't line it up straight, it'll leave a gap in the closure. So you don't want that. I don't have my measurements figured perfectly to not have as much waste, but this stuff is really cheap. Really, really cheap. I like to do the ends first. Then work my way around it. You got to be careful or you'll knock a hole in it and have to start right back over. So as you guys can see, this is a little time consuming. But I think it's a really nice, unique product. And I do like the packaging. I'll get more efficient. The more I do. Got to get all the little slack out. And I may be a little too particular with it. I'm not sure, but there we have it ain't going nowhere, you know. It's in there nice, double wrapped. Beautiful. So that's what I got going on there, guys. Let me show you something else real quick. Well, I forgot, and whoa, got all my stuff in the freezer already, but some new labels. It's the 4x4 container. And it's heavy. It's that guy, 2x4 container. It's fogging up a little bit, of course. I got a few cases of 2x4 and 4x4 cuts in there. So there's some new labels I got, and then got these new pollen labels in. I'd put that one on a little cockeyed. I'm only human, guys. They're a little crooked, but so that was it on my labels. That is something that I'm really happy about for this year. I've been on a label journey, gosh, for a long time. I had some original labels I liked pretty well, only had them for half pint and pint. That lady could no longer do them, so I moved away from that design. Went through a few different designs that just wasn't happy with. They didn't do what I wanted. The labels weren't quite right. Wasn't satisfied at all with them, wasted money. So then I contacted a professional, Chris Medeiros with Portage River Bee Company. He's up in Ohio, but that doesn't matter. You know, he can do all this label stuff for you online, email you whatever files you need and all that. So he worked on my existing labels that I had from the pints. He revised and modified those how I wanted them for quarts, 8-ounce bottles. He made me a new hot honey label, new comb honey, and pollen labels. So now my whole label lineup, it's all cohesive. It may not be what everybody else likes, but he did what I wanted with the way I wanted them, the shapes and sizes that I wanted, and I really like them. I like them a whole lot. For me, they're distinct. I don't want my labels looking like anybody else's. I want people to see that bird, the crane, and recognize it. So I don't look like anybody else's stuff in the area. So I really like it. Also, yeah, he made me a file that I could send to a local stamp maker here that I'm using on my boxes. Hang on one second. Okay guys, so I got the box here. This is the stamp. It's kind of a rustic stamp. It's just a logo stamp. Chris sent the file and I was able to give that to a local stamp maker here in Memphis. So I had that made, just stamped my mailer boxes that the comb frames go in. So I'm pleased with that. Overall, I'm pleased. I'm tickled pink with my label lineup. Chris did a great job. He really knocked it out of the park for me. If you're looking to get labels done, hit him up. He does a great job. He's going to do what you want, but he's going to make it look good. So if you have an idea and you know what you're wanting, hit him up and he can make things line up and work. You know, he started off with just my pint label that I had as an idea that I liked, and was able to create me some other things separate from that, like my pollen and my hot honey labels. And I'm sure he can go as simple or as complex as you like, but he had specific recommendations for me that I hadn't thought about because I don't know graphics or things like that and how they'll translate. So good guy to work with. He'll let you know how it's going to work and not waste your time or your money on something that's not going to translate well to a printed label. Could also set you up with those designs and files where you can send that for merchandise, you know, hats or t-shirts or whatever, you know, that you're trying to do. So very happy and excited for all my label work. It's nice to have all that finally done and out of the way. Well guys, I got 3 more supers and a couple frames, so it's like 30 some frames to wrap up. And as you guys seen, that'll probably take me a while. So I hope you guys enjoyed a little glimpse into my day, my late fall day, and thank you for watching.